It's been a long morning. It's the Jim and Terry Show with our last podcast for today. We can't stand each other now.
We didn't kill each other after the last
Not
one.
after the union and anti-union.
But talk about the difference
because
you called this a potpourri.
Yes, a potpourri.
This show's going to be a potpourri, and I call it a smorgasbord. You say potato, I say patata.
Whatever it is, it's all the same. Comes out in the wash, I hope.
Could be a song. Could be a song.
Could be. All right, we're going to do a catch-all of things that we didn't talk about. Let's go first to things SpaceX, because this week we saw the full stack.
Yes, and I thought I heard this morning that they did 2 static fires, and the second one, all the engines lit and everything was fine. So that was great. 33 engines lit, it's all fine. They've stacked, and they also have...
you wouldn't stack unless you were getting ready.
Well, that's what they say. Once that happens, I think Elon Musk posted no more.
So
testing.
Are we looking for road closures for this
We're
launch?
looking for the FAA to say, go. And I recommend folks, I know you may not be interested, but I can't emphasize enough to you the massiveness of this rocket. Even if it went half powered, it would outdo anything else that's in the world today, with the goal of getting people to the moon and setting up a station and going to Mars. This thing's 400 stinking feet high, and it's 9.5 meters wide. It's got 33 engines that blew the crap out of the place the last time, because Elon thought maybe we could do this without a deluge system. And now they have a deluge system in it, and it seems to be working wonderful.
Okay, so I got a couple of questions. One, the FAA was concerned with a chunk of concrete the size of my house being blown from the base of that platform by the 30 some odd engines that were lit at less than full power and blew that chunk out into the ocean.
Half a kilometer anyways, or more.
So rightfully so, they're a little concerned
yes.
about the likelihood of something else happening. But in the meantime, in response, now I'm led to believe that the FAA was working with SpaceX for the remedies, and the remedies were already identified, and you mentioned the most important, the deluge system.
Yeah.
It's not the same as what NASA uses, not the same for the space shuttle program. This is different.
They say it's ingenious, actually. It's really quite different, and it seems to be working. What I thought wasn't ingenious, and I thought it was stupid, that Musk would do that test without anything like that. It blew a crater, like...
Is it in the realm of what were you thinking?
Story, what were you thinking? I think he thought, okay, it's going to do some damage. It's going to burn the stand a bit, blah. It blew the crap out of it.
That's a lot of thrust.
It's a lot of power, this thing. But, I mean, it can just haul all kinds of weight into space.
This is the thing, because we're looking at the retirement of the International Space Station within the next 10 years, I think, which means the next stuff, which is going to be modules, needs to be taken up a lot at a time.
Yeah.
So here's to an almost instant replacement being launched with only a few flights of
doesn't it have, if they dock the Starship, it's got the living capacity of what they've got up there and have been living in for 30 years.
And that's one Starship.
Yeah, one Starship.
One Starship has the same capacity.
They're thinking, okay, well, if this can actually work, and I'll remind our viewers that this is SpaceX we're talking here, which successfully launches the Falcon and the heavy...
which is the first time America's been able to resupply the International Space Station from American soil.
Safe and in luxury,
yeah.
in comparison to anything that's next to it. So there's that. Now they're talking about a space station that may be just made up of starships.
Now, I've heard that, but I've also heard
tether them together.
Well, I like that idea. That makes more sense. Since he's already got the fabrication for the Starship, why not churn these things out? And so that's why I think he's got multiple iterations already sitting there in Boca
all
Chica.
Kinds. He wants to be able to launch, I think, 3 times a week.
That's 2027 to 2030. I think that's his goal. Yeah. But in the meantime, we need to get it up there, get it tested, get the tiles tested because they're using different tiles, heat tiles, than the shuttle used. Far different process as well. Have you seen this tiles for the heating on the bottom side?
It is all amazing to me, and it's amazing to me that his brilliant way of doing things is to test it to fault.
Yeah,
Blow it up. And then with that data you get by not guessing, not sitting in a room and guessing and going through simulations, get it the best you can, send it up.
And we'll see.
Even this one, he's given it a 50% chance of making orbit.
Right.
Just making orbit, never mind what happens when it's in there. Just,
got to get it up and got to get this thing to get the data on the re-entry.
Now, I'm going to go out on the limb here and say the next one's going to go into orbit. It's going to work. Now, what happens after that? It may burn up coming back down.
No, the goal is still...
Might have to be blown up because the stupid thing's spinning out of control up in space.
Okay, so they still got those systems in place.
Yeah.
So the goal is that the bottom part, the booster part, is going to land in the ocean somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yep, in the Gulf of Mexico.
And the other part is going to try to do one circuit and come down?
Yeah, it's going to be It's going to take a 90-minute flight, which will take it all around the globe back to Hawaii.
Okay.
And now that's just because they're going to.
They want to be safe.
They're not just dumping it. They're going to try to land them as if it's landing on land, but it'll just plop in the water.
So it's going to make the flip.
And the return to Earth.
So it's going to land vertically in the ocean.
In the ocean and die.
Wow.
But that's what they got to do. Now, for the environmentalists, you got to understand, all over the world, people are dumping stuff in the ocean. Once this is conquered, they will no longer be dumping anything into the ocean. And that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to be patient with the ones that fail. But once they've failed, and who knows, maybe they're a salvage team will go and get them later or something.
They might be historical value. Some archaeologists will go and discover it in 100 years.
Yeah.
Just like the Avro Arrow out of Lake Ontario.
Yeah, what were they thinking? Yeah. So it's exciting to me because I want to see what it's going to look like in the crew. And now they've even got, they're hinting that they've got the moon landing. They're working on that one.
I heard NASA was not looking at SpaceX to do the lunar lander.
I think they're looking at both, but you may be right on that too. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not even worried about that because if all of a sudden NASA completely abandoned Musk, he's going to do it on his own. He doesn't need NASA.
No, he will do it on his own.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He'll just do it on his own.
Yeah, so I don't know why NASA is bothering with some of the others when they've got
the
system.
It's the money in politics, Terry. Yeah. It's all over the place. Well, look at that Artemis thing. It's a fortune. When in reality, you could have a spaceship, one of Musk's starships, orbiting the moon and be bigger than anything they're going to be using their gateway. If they just used their mind, hire SpaceX to put the gateway up there.
I guess you don't want to be dependent on a private.
Well, they don't want to be dependent on one.
Yeah.
This is it. I think there is wisdom in that.
Especially when it's Musk.
There's strikes because of unions. I'm kidding.
Musk is anti-union.
I'm kidding. But if somebody messes up, somebody else could do it.
Yeah.
So that might be what you were reading. They're still proceeding. Oh, there's poetry. What you're reading, they're still proceeding into getting another lander to land on there. But it really, if they went side by side, it would literally be a semi-truck up against a scooter.
Why would you want the
scooter when you could be living in a semi?
I have no idea about that. So that kind of stuff bothers me. But we are looking for a launch, and I think that brings excitement to you and I.
And it probably could be as soon as next week.
I'm hoping.
Me too.
Before you go on holidays.
I'm really hoping that. It would be perfect if it was Thursday.
Yeah.
Because then I could come and watch it here.
We were hoping. We were hoping for an August launch.
Well,
we
did. Last
September.
time we did. We watched it here and we oohed and awed and watched it blew up. It blew up good. It blew up real good.
Done blowed up.
But that was the other thing the FAA is looking into is that it was 40 seconds after they pushed the destruction button.
Yeah, so why the delay?
Why the delay? They need to get that fixed because 40 seconds is a lot when you've got a football field-sized object coming down.
With still fuel on it.
With still fuel on it. All kinds of fuel.
Yeah, don't want that to happen. All right, to wrap up this potpourri, let's swing over to things that are in the news. Did you know that there's
where we're going with this?
No, there's a comet in the night sky that you may or may not be able to see once in a never. Like you'll never see this. This will never come by.
When's it best seen?
September 25th, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
is, and where? Off the East Coast, best view. And where will I be?
You will be on the East Coast.
I'll be on the East
I
Coast.
hope you get some binoculars, because apparently you might not be able to see it. Depends on so many variables.
All
but
kinds
it's
of
a
variables.
once in a thing.
I'm not banking on it all.
It's not like hail bop.
Because I've given up in Toronto, in Potpourri. Because whenever something is being seen, it's going to be a super moon, go out and see
You
it.
can't see it.
There's a storm, or it's cloudy, or
I saw the
something.
supermoon.
Well, we didn't in Potpourri.
Oh, really?
I would have had to drive here.
I could have blown the clouds over to your place. Okay, so that's one thing that's happening. That's looking upwards. The other thing is Tucker Carlson is saying things like he's expecting an assassination attempt.
Tucker Carlson needs to go away.
Yes.
I mean, that guy is so money hungry sick, because I don't believe he believes what
Well,
he's
you know
saying.
what platform he's being podcast on?
Well,
Musk.
lie to you.
Musk.
Oh, Musk. Okay.
Musk has put him
Well,
on.
as
Musk
I said,
reinstated Trump.
Musk's the one that's going to get us to the moon. Musk's also the other one that blew up his own stupid stand because he didn't have the whereabouts to think this
He's
thing might.
also allowed a lot of far-right hate speech to go on Twitter since he bought it. So I'm just.
It's not Twitter anymore.
I
It's
call
X.
it Twitter. I refuse
It's
to go
X.
to X. I refuse to do that. Other things. The Georgia, they tried to pull Sidney Powell away from, and that other fellow, Chesbrough, they tried to separate them from
Yep.
the 19. They're not allowing them to be separated.
No, you're all
this
together.
is
It's a cabal.
I'm excited by this. This is getting so darn interesting.
Well, it is. I
will
just-
get popcorn for this.
Yeah.
And it's state court, so it will be broadcast.
If I would just went back to Carlson, if you don't
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
If I was left wing, and I'm a right wing person, folks, but if I was left wing and I said they're going to assassinate Trump, I'd be in deep trouble. How come he isn't? He's inciting that.
I would think so. But
So
then
why is
so
the
is Mike
difference?
Huckabee, Sarah Huckabee's dad, who said that there's going to be a civil war if he doesn't win. Stay tuned. We'll cover this and many more things on the Jim and Terry Show, coming to you in the future
From Bob Cajun.
if we make it. If we make it.